It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. We had everything before us. We had nothing before us.
Although nestled next to each other and separated by only a small bridge, Chester and Wallingford, Pennsylvania are in some ways separated by a gulf as wide as the French Channel that separated Dickens's two cities, Paris and London. As we take a look at these communities south of Philadelphia, we pay attention to the signs that point to greater realities.
Follow the signs, open your eyes, read between the lines of what you see, look into the soul of reality.
The study of semiotics teaches us that images, artifacts, and buildings, when viewed together in systems, reflect greater truths and teach us lessons about power and ideology. In this presentation, we seek to understand what factors account for some of the gross disparities we observe between Wallingford and Chester. We do this by examining the symbols and rhetorics of local politics, schools, neighborhoods, and recreational settings. And finally, by looking at comparative religious institutions. How is it that seemingly well-meaning, loving, caring community members divided by a single bridge tolerate and live with such disparity and inequities? Wallingford, Pennsylvania, nestled among trees and other greenery, is home to many middle-class income residents in Nether Providence Township. Individual lot housing fills the streets, but not too tightly. While tranquil, no community goes without its qualms, according to Vice President of the Board of Commissioners, Sarah Lynn Petrosky.
In Wallingford, probably the chief problem is the property taxes, and many people, because we don't have a commercial basis of taxes, find that their real estate property taxes are too high. Probably that's the #1 ranked problem. But aside from the taxes, other problems would include traffic and congestion, noise, which comes along with traffic, the lack of sidewalks and ability to walk, because we're a suburban area where we don't have sidewalks like a city. So people don't get opportunities to exercise on their bikes or walk to the train or walk to the Wawa or some places that they'd like to walk.
The biggest complaint from many residents is the high property taxes that stem from the lack of an industrial and commercial element to the community. The result is a competent police and fire department, as well as one of the top-ranked school systems in the state that is funded almost solely by town residents. Other problems, traffic congestion and noise, sprout from the need of residents to commute to their jobs. Less than a mile down the road, Chester sits with many deteriorated houses and rental units, with residents with low income and a laundry list of problems that seem to be almost the opposite of its neighboring community to the north. Chester City Planner William Payne.
Chester is an urbanized city and is experiencing all the problems that most urban areas are experiencing in the 20th century. High unemployment, deteriorated housing, lack of a tax base, and those are some of the major items that's really impacting Chester now.
With such close proximity between Chester and Wallingford, and so many different types of problems between them, one might think that working together would be the best option for both. However, opinions seem to differ.
It's really hard to, if you're talking about bridging a gap, to say that we could ever make Wallingford like Chester. They're just two very different places with two very different kinds of issues, I think, and very hard to make them the same, and I'm not sure you'd want to.
Making two communities work together and communicate is always a good thing. I think it improves the quality of life for not only Chester residents, but also for Wallingford residents too.
Service level discrepancies between the two communities are easy to identify, as are the differences in people's willingness to work together. What keeps these two towns so far apart on so many levels while so geographically close? As we break down the towns further and analyze them, the answers will come a little clearer. Sociologist Antonio Gramsci offered a concept he called hegemony. Hegemonic understandings are beliefs accepted by the rich and poor alike, which function to maintain the status quo. Entrenched among the impoverished and underprivileged, the Chester Upland School District attempts to offer an education to a community where the majority of the adults never made it much past high school, some not even getting that far. Much like the rest of the neighborhood, the demographics of the school system are uneven. More than half of the student population is African American.
The racial mix in the district is primarily black and Latino. The percentage of white students is very, very low, probably less than 3%. The percentage of Latino students varies from school to school. Without looking at the figures, my guess would be that it ranges in the 5 to 10 to perhaps 15% range among the different schools.
The rough edges of the Chester community have taken a toll on the school system. The scores for the Pennsylvania State Standardized Assessments, PSSAs, are dramatically low, with many of the students scoring what is considered below basic on state standards. Wayne Emsley is Director of Assessment and Evaluation for the Chester Upland School District.
There are a number of reasons why those scores are low. Some of them I think are historical, in the sense that the Chester Upland School District, unfortunately, as I said, does have a history of low test performance. Certainly the demographics of the Chester Upland area very frequently work against high performance. We have high levels of unemployment, high levels of single-family parents, and high levels of poverty.
When it comes to the students' overall desire to learn, many of the same problems and concerns apply. The district recognized the problems and knew they had to fix them, but unfortunately they came across another roadblock.
Very honestly, the district was broke.
With the district out of money, the Pennsylvania Department of Education put the district on its empowerment list.
The district was put on what is called the empowerment list. That's a program set up by the state of Pennsylvania, and it includes two things. First of all, the finding that the school district is in trouble, which is what was found about Chester. And secondly, it provides state assistance and state funds to help the district get out of that empowerment situation.
Seemingly in another world, only a mile or so away, Wallingford-Swarthmore School District towers over Chester School District academically and structurally. Much of the difference comes from the juxtaposing neighborhoods, family standards, and attractiveness to better teachers.
In Wallingford-Swarthmore, wealth sometimes permits more recreational time and more personal contact time with students. So that's one of the factors. Number two, salary rates in Wallingford-Swarthmore are higher, and that attracts some of the best teaching candidates to our district.
The keystone school for the district, Strathaven High School, has enjoyed Blue Ribbon School status since the 1980s. According to Strathaven principal Al Beechner, the financial stability of the students' families plays a large role in their academic success.
And in my research in education, it is said to me that one of the greatest predictors for success of any student is the education of the mother. And if we look at education rates in the Wallingford-Swarthmore School District, the parents have come from the university level. Many of our parents, and that is father and mother, have enjoyed very, very successful professions, have gone to some of the most prestigious universities.
However, no district goes without its own set of problems.
Well, Wallingford-Swarthmore, as I noted in the Inquirer, one of our biggest statistics last year was lateness and cutting school. But we are also plagued by disciplinary problems. We have students that have experimented with alcohol, with marijuana, students that endanger themselves with risky behavior. So I think there's sometimes a stereotype that a school like Wallingford-Swarthmore has no problems whatsoever. We do have those problems, and we share problems, just as Chester may have identical problems.
However, the difference is there is an environment of support.
Generally, a student starts school at 9th grade at Strathaven High School. They are almost assured graduation from Strathaven High School.
The district has been working with Chester in their curriculum to enhance both schools.
Over the past few years, there has been a geography course at Strathaven that works with students in the Chester Upland School District on matters of geography and interest in both communities, because once again there is a realization here in an organization we have called the Urban Partnership that what affects our larger geographic area also affects us.
Beyond the discrepancies between Wallingford and Chester in education, youth from both communities face common obstacles in trying to find positive outlets for their adolescent angst. Carol Bellamy is Executive Director of UNICEF. She argues children have an inherent need to play, and it is their right to do so. She says sports and games and athletics are crucial to every child's healthy development. In our visit to Wallingford's newly inaugurated Field of Dreams, we came across a community member putting up a new monument. It is proof of the constant effort towards improvement in the community. The few parks that are in Chester show signs of deterioration due to improper use and lack of supervision.
Sometimes some of the people who are at the playground aren't really children and tear up the playground, so I think it probably would be trying to keep the upkeep and keep the playground safe for the children to play at.
In our travels through Wallingford, we came across a t-ball game and a soccer game.
Soccer is definitely the thing to do here. Safety-wise, there's no issues. This field here is a new field. It's a great facility. And up until this field being here, one of our problems was just having enough facilities for the kids to play.
In Chester, we were hard-pressed to find a single organized sport being played in the community. On the surface, Chester Eastside Ministries does not fit the typical definition of a church. Housed in a huge Gothic structure built in 1870, Chester Eastside reaches out to its multiracial, multilingual neighborhood. Chester Eastside lives by the word spoken by Jesus, to feed the hungry and clothe the naked, to take in the stranger, and free the imprisoned souls in our midst. The mission reaches out to the community by offering an open building to the neighborhood.
We really want people, when they come in these doors, to feel very welcomed. We realize that we are not a welfare agency, or that we are not a social institution. We're very clear on the fact that we are a church.
Reverend Bernice Warren grew up in Chester and now serves as the pastor-director of Chester Eastside Ministries. One major emphasis of Chester Eastside's mission work is to educate and enrich the lives of children in Chester. The mission houses after-school programs, summer camps, and the east side of Chester's only library. Chester Eastside Ministries is a light of hope in a community covered by a cloud of poverty.
That's another strength of this ministry, is that it calls suburban and urban people to come together. I think Chester Eastside is a safe place for people to come. One of the things that I noticed, or that I was happy to find out when I came here 4 years ago, was that there were people in the suburbs who wanted to come to Chester, who wanted to be involved.
Wallingford Presbyterian is a 125-year-old church located on Brookhaven Road in Wallingford. It rests on rich farmland and soon developed into a gathering place for Presbyterians in the area. Over the years, the structure has been renovated and modified to adapt to the growing Wallingford community. Currently, the congregation consists of 530 members. 250 attend for a typical Sunday service. John Smoot, an interim associate pastor with Wallingford Presbyterian for the past 2 years, says his congregation is very active not only in worship but also in the community as well as in the surrounding areas. Associate Pastor Smoot.
We've always been very active in the community, to Wallingford in general, to media, Swarthmore, and being part of the Presbyterian network or denomination, we support by our giving a great deal of global, national, and local missions, and then we also have our own local missions.
The people in the congregation are involved in.
We are involved with Chester Eastside Ministries, City Team, both in giving of money for food. City Team Ministries, we go down once a month as a congregation and help serve meals and help tutor guys in the recovery program at City Team. That's down in Chester. We're involved with the Esperanza Health Center, which is a no-cost clinic in Philadelphia.
Congregants not only help financially through budgets allocations and special collections, but also with their time and service. Charles Knuckles is a former Chester resident. He is a recovered drug and alcohol addict who was rehabilitated through the works of City Team and the Wallingford Presbyterian community. He's currently an active member in the church and in many of the church ministries.
It was Thursday night. I was down at City Team, and it's like 8 o'clock at night, and I'm teaching a class, and I look up and I see my church members walking in there. They put together food boxes for the poor, and it's after dark. They're taking a risk, you know. You gotta have that in your heart to love, you know. You put aside a lot of stuff to be able to do that.
When Knuckles made the transition from Chester to Wallingford, he had many fears and insecurities about joining the community.
The greatest challenge was my very own fear, I believe. You know, being a product of of the 60s and 50s, I still remembered, I felt as though I didn't belong in this neighborhood because I can remember times when my brother and I, my foster brother, we used to ride into neighborhoods that were similar to this, and we literally got chased out, you know, as kids on our bicycles. And so, thinking about the time back then, I thought that I wouldn't fit.
New International Version, Mark 10, verses 17 through 23. Jesus started on his way. A man ran up to him and fell on his knees before him. "Good teacher," he asked, "what must I do to inherit eternal life?" "Why you call me good?" Jesus answered. "No one is good except God alone. You know the commandments. Do not murder. Do not commit adultery. Do not steal. Do not give false testimony. Do not defraud. Honor your father and mother." "Teacher," he declared, "all these I have kept since I was a boy." Jesus looked at him and loved him. "One thing you lack," he said. "Go, sell everything you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come, follow me." At this the man's face fell. He went away sad, because he had great wealth. Jesus looked around and said to his disciples, "How hard is it for the rich to enter the kingdom of God?"
The New Testament text says Jesus loved the man. Jesus recognized the man was unable to make the dramatic and costly leap towards total social equity. The dynamics have likely changed little in the last 2 millennia. The signs, when taken together, point to a seeming picture of haves and have-nots, of those in power and those without power. Still, it would be a mistake to assume that those in Wallingford are exclusively affluent and those in Chester exclusively impoverished. The French anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss warns about our tendencies to view the world in binary terms: rich versus poor, dark versus light, man versus woman, Chester versus Wallingford. The problem with such a binary outlook is that one side is typically termed good while the other is viewed as bad. The reality is that we live in a diverse world, and when we let a small bridge divide us from the full range of human activities, we are all diminished. The solution may mean more traffic for that small bridge that divides Chester from Wallingford. Perhaps it is best to view that bridge as a sign that unites, rather than one which divides. Let it, in essence, serve to bridge our communities and our spirits.